Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clay, and I'm the Bucks believer. Yesterday, in Game 1 of the first round of the NBA playoffs against the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks allowed their opponent to shoot 20 for 50 from beyond the three-point line. I think that statistic is going to scare a lot of Bucks fans because the Bucks allowed the Heat to both jack up 50 three-pointers and to make 40% of those long-range bombs. However, I think that this was largely a strategic decision for Milwaukee. The Bucks decided that they were not going to let the Heat's two best players in Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler beat them at the rim. This allowed Miami to make a whole lot of jumpers, but Miami still only mustered a 97.3 offensive rating. This season, the Oklahoma City Thunder came in last in that metric as they scored just 103.8 points per 100 possessions. That is a whopping 6.5 points per 100 possessions better than what the Heat scored yesterday. So obviously the Bucks were really able to impact the Heat in a big way, and Miami struggled to get anything going on the offensive end of the court. The way that the Bucks defended the Heat's pet play of the dribble handoff really made it clear that they are going to live with giving up those three-pointers, and that's going to be a sacrifice that they are willing to make as long as it prevents Bam Adebayo from getting to the basket. The primary set for Miami when they run this dribble handoff play is Bam handing off to Duncan Robinson. In this situation, Brook Lopez was usually the guy defending Bam, and Chris Middleton was, for the most part, guarding Duncan Robinson. Brook defended this dribble handoff action in a drop coverage. He pretty much sat in the paint while Chris chased Duncan around the three-point line. This seems like a crazy decision to make if you are the Bucks. You can't really allow Duncan Robinson to shoot open threes. This season he shot 40.8% from beyond the arc on 8.5 three-point attempts per game. That is both one of the best efficiency marks in the league and one of the highest volume amount of three-point takes per game. So to allow Duncan to really just shoot it as many times as he wanted in yesterday's game seemed like an ill-advised choice for Milwaukee. However, when you really dig into it, I think that the Bucks believe that this beats the alternative. And for me, I kind of agree with the Bucks' reasoning in this situation. Milwaukee has made it clear that they would rather allow a semi-contested Duncan Robinson three-point attempt than a Bam Adebayo drive to the rim. They are keeping Brook Lopez in the paint because if Brook did defend Bam out on the perimeter, Adebayo could easily take Brook to the basket, which would result in either an easy layup for Bam or an easy assist to either an open shooter beyond the three-point line or someone right at the basket for an easy layup. So overall, the Bucks are deciding that instead of allowing Bam to drive to the basket, they're going to allow Robinson to get off that three-point shot. The key here is that Chris Middleton really has to fight hard over that screen. If he doesn't do that, it's going to allow Duncan to get wide open three-pointers time and time again. And while the Bucks seem comfortable living with those every once in a while, they cannot afford to allow Duncan to shoot from wide open shots every single possession for Miami. Chris either has to run Duncan off of the three-point line and force him to either put the ball on the deck and take it to the rim or pass it to a teammate. Chris could also contest the shot and make it far more difficult than a wide-open look would be for Robinson. Finally, Chris could just straight up deny the handoff, forcing Bam Adebayo to settle for a mid-range jumper. When Chris gets around that screen and denies Adebayo from giving the ball to Robinson, it forces Adebayo to create a shot for himself. Yesterday, when that happened, we saw Bam take a few dribbles and pull up in the mid-range. Brook Lopez was not going to allow him to get to the rim. That was clear by the way Brook defended those actions. He sat right next to the basket and forced Bam to beat the Bucks in the mid-range. Bam was not capable of doing that yesterday as he had just 9 points on 4 for 15 shooting, and a ton of those misses came in the mid-range. So I think it's pretty clear that this strategy of defending the dribble handoff really worked well for the Bucks, even if they did surrender a huge night to Duncan Robinson. The Bucks used a lot of really similar coverages on off-the-ball screening actions that the Heat ran for Duncan, and also the pick-and-roll coverages against Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo pick and roll schemes. They did allow Robinson and Dragic to beat them. That is true. Robinson had 24 points on 7 for 13 shooting from beyond the arc, and he also got fouled on another 3-point shot and made all 3 of his free throws. So basically all 24 of his shots were generated on 3-point attempts. Dragic had a similarly huge night for Miami, scoring 25 points on 10 for 17 shooting and making 5 of his 10 3-pointers. However, the Bucks did what they needed to do against Adebayo, whose struggles I covered earlier, and Jimmy Butler. They really prevented those guys from going off, and that's how they were able to be so effective on the defensive end of the court. Let's talk about Jimmy a little bit more and discuss the way in which the Bucks defended him. Butler finished the game with 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. That sounds like a solid stat line on the surface level. However, when you look at his efficiency statistics, he really struggled in this game. Butler shot just 4 for 22 from the field, 2 for 9 from the 3-point line, and, well, he shot 7 for 10 from the free throw line. But overall, the Bucks did a great job of playing physical defense against Butler and preventing him from getting easy baskets. They switched every single pick and roll action that Jimmy was involved in as the ball handler. They were able to keep either Giannis Antetokounmpo, PJ Tucker, Dante DiVincenzo, Drew Holiday, even Chris Middleton on Butler at almost all times, and even when Bryn Forbes or Pat Connaughton was switched on to Jimmy, those two guys were able to hold their own and prevent him from getting easy shots. That great one-on-one defense from the Bucks wings and guards was a big reason why Butler struggled in this game, but it's far from the only reason. Whenever Jimmy was able to get around his primary defender, there was a horde of Bucks defenders collapsing on his drives and making life difficult. Brook Lopez had multiple very hard fouls on Jimmy Butler, and that was a result of the way the Bucks were defending him. Butler was getting forced to take really difficult contested shots, and every time he did so, Lopez was right there in the paint contesting that shot and forcing Jimmy to either go to the free throw line or miss a shot and take some contact even then. So this strategy really worked well for the Bucks. Butler did have 8 assists and was able to find some open shooters at times in this game, but he also struggled as a passer against all of the ball pressure, as he had 6 turnovers and looked somewhat uncomfortable under all of that pressure under certain periods of time. This strategy of allowing Heat shooters to bomb away while preventing Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo from beating the Bucks worked wonders for Milwaukee defensively. I think that they will continue employing this strategy until either Jimmy Butler figures out how to play against it or until Erik Spoelstra makes an adjustment that beats it. Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the league, so I would be surprised if he doesn't cook up something special to defeat the Bucks defense. But the Bucks are a more talented team, and they clearly have a strategical advantage based off of what we saw in Game 1. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as this series progresses, but as of right now, I really like the Bucks' chances, and I am standing by my pick of them winning it in either 5 or 6 games. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section down below. Do you think that the Bucks should continue to allow the Heat to shoot open threes while preventing them from getting to the rim, or would you prefer them to run Miami off the 3-point line and allow them to get to the basket more frequently? It's a bit of a trade-off, and we certainly saw that last night. Which one of those routes would you prefer to see Milwaukee take? Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, especially if you are a fellow Bucks believer. This is the place for you. I think that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover, so that's going to be it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all again very soon.